That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It is FRATER. That's right. Tonight is Tuesday night. We are back. This is, of course, Somos Moss, the official podcast of Somos Moss NM, and your source for the latest news and notes on New Mexico United and the New Mexico Runners. My name, of course, is Seth Bidoff. Thank you for joining us as we do each and every week across our social media channels, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We appreciate you being here. And joining me tonight, as always, we have Jacob Terrell, Earl Nieto. Guys, I just have one thing to say real quick. Absolutely. Kevaughn FRATER is back, the big news of the week. And what I dubbed as the second worst kept secret ever in New Mexico United history.
I would argue that it was worse kept than Ratty, but to me,
Ratty leaked like a week early.
It did. But it was like on Google, which kind of made it official, but it was from websites that were like, what are these websites?
Yeah.
But with FRATER, it was like, oh, it's FRATER. Okay.
Yeah, Kevaughn obviously was at the game Saturday night. Several people have seen him, and I'm sure if you haven't listened to the full audio recording of his reintroduction press conference from yesterday, apparently some folks have seen him in and around town and at the game Saturday night. Earl saw him Saturday night. Sombrero Man saw him. Speaking of which, where is Sombrero Man? Was he going to join us tonight?
I completely forgot to reach out to him.
Okay.
Since the game on Saturday or Wednesday.
Saturday.
I wasn't at the one Saturday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because we talked to him on Wednesday. So, Sombrero Man, if you pop into the chat, let us know. We'll shoot you a link. I'll get you on the show tonight. But yeah, so Earl and Sombrero Man saw him Saturday night. Obviously, I saw him sitting up in one of the suites with the guys who were not dressed for the evening. And so, let's just jump right into it. I mean, obviously, New Mexico United announced yesterday after the Pete leak saying a familiar face is coming back that Kevaughn FRATER has signed through the end of the year. And it's super exciting. Jacob, I'm sure you went back and listened to the press conference. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You've been on some of the others. Earl, I think this might've been the first one you've sat in.
It surprised the hell out of me when I saw Earl with a tie and a background asking a question. I was like, whoa, I didn't realize Earl was there. Holy cow.
It surprised everybody.
Looking all professional and everything.
Yeah. Earl acquitted himself well during the press conference yesterday. Also on the press conference, we had Ron Burke from KOAT, Chris Walker from Seek and Strike. We had Ken Sickinger from the Albuquerque Journal, and someone from KOAT was on there as well, but they didn't pop in or turn their video on. So, but yeah, Kevaughn popped in, had a nice chat with everybody. And I got to say, of all the press conferences that we've been in on, as far as these player introductions, and this is the first time we've released the full audio from one of these. I reached out to David just to make sure, because there was something that Kevaughn said that he was kind of like, saying hush hush about. But David said everything was good when he threw that out there. This is the most excited I've seen a player in one of these press conferences. And I think that's a fantastic thing to see. Earl, since you were in the press conference and Jacob wasn't, Earl, what was your takeaway from this press conference with Kevaughn?
The fuck, Seth? You don't do that when I'm on there and Earl's not. You're like, hey, Jacob, since Earl wasn't there.
Well, like you said, Earl surprised everybody.
This is true.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Earl. Answer the question.
What was the question again?
I knew that was coming.
There you go. What was your takeaway from this press conference with Kevaughn?
I liked his mentality of just wanting to always be back and never wanting to leave in the first place, pretty much making New Mexico his home. I thought it was great. Was I excited to hear about a sixth striker coming back to the club? No.
What?
But am I happy as Kevaughn, who has proven himself within New Mexico before? Yeah. So I was kind of happy. It was enjoyable for sure with his energy and all over the place, not really keeping a full sentence together. But it was really fun to listen. That's for sure.
Yeah, Kev came in. Kev is, he's always been one of those guys that's been full of energy, a spark up top, and sitting in this press conference, like and you talked about, he never wanted to leave. That's something that, because the question was asked, how did this get started? What was the timeline on getting Kev back? And he relayed that he had been talking to Zach since like January, and he'd been talking to Troy ever since 2020, trying to find an opportunity to come back, and it didn't work out until now, unfortunately. And there are some folks, obviously, Kev was the name, the biggest name that was rumored around us signing, and came true. Looking at Kevaughn and what he brings to the club, and some people over on Reddit were saying that we're going to start running with 8 forwards every match. We'll do the 1-1-8 formation or something along those lines.
Deal.
Deal. Okay. I mean, Jacob, with Kevaughn coming back, obviously we already had a wealth of players that can play in that forward position. What does Kevaughn bring that maybe some of these other guys don't, or how do you think this affects that starting 11, that the roster?
I think you've said the word already several times, and that's energy. He has this way about him, and it's like you mentioned the press conference and how it was the most excited you had seen a player. I think that's more Kev's personality coming through than I'm not. You might have meant it this way, but I'm not saying that Somos Mas means it this way, that he was more excited than Nico or Romario or any of those other guys to come in. He just shows it in a completely different way. Nico seems way more reserved and kind of even keel, and Kevaughn's Kevaughn. I mean, master of yellow cards in year one. The celebrations. It's FRATER! These moments here, the energy for Kevaughn is just different. It's different than what any of our other guys bring. It's different than Amando, who's probably you think of as energy. Kevaughn's he just brings a different kind of energy that I think could be one of the things that we're missing right now in the attack, and to have that pace and that dribbling ability that, I mean, Preston has it. I don't know. I don't know what
you're doing.
I'm very confused. Oh, there's a comment. Okay. Gotcha. I'm on this page, so I didn't see that. It's not old. This is this year's, Harry.
Yeah.
It's not. Anyways, yeah, he brings just a completely different energy up top that I think will jump off the page. And the thing about energy, like I love Nico to death. Nico is very clinical and very even keel, and that's contagious as well. But sometimes if you're not normally an even keel person and you Earl in a t-shirt. Earl has a torn rotator cuff. Okay, let's go slightly easy on Earl tonight. With Kevaughn in there, though, the others can feed off of that energy and build off that energy, and that's something that the forwards up top aren't necessarily giving off for others to feed off of right now. And I think that's contagious, and I think it could lead to a lot of good things happening in the attack.
You were sorry. Go ahead.
Small disclaimer. It was an up and down week. And by up and down, I mean it was down, and then the FRATER news kind of made us try to forget about the 2 matches that happened. So for the rest of this episode, I don't know what it's going to be like, because we are riding the FRATER train right now. But I have a double margarita here, and I'm a little depressed about the actual matches. So it could be a roller coaster of an episode tonight.
Harry, glad you're here. Yes, sir. Absolutely. We are straight into the business this evening. Obviously, the big news of Kevaughn FRATER getting signed back yesterday. And by the way, we have a soundboard now that's built into StreamYard. Earl does not have access to this.
He doesn't?
No.
You don't have access, Earl?
No, because
I'll play it twice as much then.
There you go.
Just for you, buddy.
Earl, I'll tell you what, Earl, I'll make you a deal. If you have some sounds that you want us to play, send them on over. We'll throw them into the soundboard. Okay,
I thought you were about to make a deal to give him access to it, and I was like, no.
Well, no. I can't unless I can't. It only allows me to do one person. So
he has his own soundboard, and that is his phone that he puts on his mic to play. Yeah. Listen,
there we go.
Did you know? And then we all roll our eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, I
Um,
hate your
very
takes.
critical.
I hate your takes. I really do.
I feel
They're
like something's
trash.
coming. I feel like something's coming. Waiting
Your
for it.
your
Waiting
takes
for
are
it.
trash.
Hovering on the mute mic. Hovering on the mute mic. Nothing's coming.
But you're
Okay.
absolutely right. You know, it's not that the other guys that came in weren't excited. It's just like Kevaughn expressed it more through the way he spoke, through the way he acted in the press conference. And so,
He also said he never left.
yeah,
Multiple times he said he never left.
yeah.
So even in
basically.
Israel and where was the other place?
India.
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 Why I don't know why I couldn't think of that. He still followed us and watched everything. He knew. He mentioned some moments,
Mhm.
not necessarily specifically, but kind of sort of specifically from matches before on this season and stuff like that. So he definitely was in tune with what was going on even while he was gone.
Yeah, he's a guy that really has stuck by, and talking to him, like hearing that he never wanted to leave, that he was trying to find ways and opportunities to come back. Like I think that shows a lot. And he talked about it, about the culture and what the club represents and how close knit this group is. And so it really sounded like he made it sound like he said he never really left. Like in walking out on the pitch for training last week with these guys that he's known for years. You know, he knows Romario, he knows Nico, he knows, you know, obviously Dev and Bees and these guys that have been here for years. And then just to express the excitement he had to play with guys like Justin and Christian Nava, and saying that he was learning things from Christian. Like that to me just kind of blew my mind, that he's coming in with this mindset to even learn from, you know, the rookies on the team. You know,
I mean, the guy has a Zia symbol tattoo on his arm, and he's from about as far away from here as you can get and still be in the Western Hemisphere. So you know he has to have a special place in his heart for this place, and to hear the excitement that he talked about and what he's looking forward to and whether he wants to get 20 wins this year or not. Just it's great. It's great to have him back.
That's a shout right there. If you didn't, was that, I think that was Wednesday night?
Just move on. Just move on.
Okay.
It was an inside joke that you tried to make outside, and it needs to stay inside. Earl's even confused right now.
No, you're right. That is absolutely inside. So, but yeah, Kevaughn coming in obviously presents an interesting dilemma for New Mexico United, including so the USL Championship website does still have Ilya Illich listed as on our roster right now. Christian Nava is listed as a forward. Mario, Jerome, Dev, Nico, and now Kevaughn. And we've also seen Bees step up. We've seen Sergio step up and play in those forward roles as well. But I think what this does for us legitimately, this is a question I want you guys to chime in on as well. 6 forwards, basically, because I see Christian as more of a midfielder, an attacking mid, someone who has the ability to play off the wing. Same with Bees and Sergio and Amando too. You know, those guys are all, to me, true midfielders. Now they can step in and play in that forward role, but for me, looking at this, and there were some questions and comments over on Reddit about this, about how, if there was one question in particular about if this shows a lack of faith in Romario. And so I said, no, they're completely different styles of players. And we've had this conversation. Romario is basically Dev, but younger. And I think, to me, has a higher ceiling. But Kevaughn coming in, I think what that does is that allows guys like Christian and Sergio and Bees and Amando to drop back and play more of that cam or that center mid or that wide mid role, and be more in a more natural position for them and be creators and guys who are going to drive the play forward. And that gives you Kev, Nico, Dev, Jerome, Romario up top. And you get a number of different looks with those guys. And I think it gives us an opportunity to spell Nico as well. That's where I see this. Earl, let's start with you. What do you think it is about Kevaughn that's going to change this roster and change what Zach throws out there every week?
Just the way he plays. I mean, going back to year one, he was, and I hate to say it this way. No, I don't. I'll actually watch what I say.
Okay, wow.
Hmm.
Wait. Suit and tie, press conference, and watching what you say on the pod? Holy crap. Are you sure you didn't hit your head too, and not just your shoulder?
Well, I'm pretty sure I hit my head too.
Okay, that makes sense.
So those of you listening, Earl
had a near-death experience, and so he's reevaluating his life choices.
Yeah. So
all
long story
life
short,
choices, all life choices except for what to wear on the podcast. He's still t-shirt.
hey, it's black and yellow t-shirt though.
It is. I can't see it for sure, but I feel
Is that
like
a
it
Live
might.
Strong?
I feel like it might be a Lance Armstrong one, which is slightly questionable, but I digress. We move on.
Anyways, so like I was saying to everyone listening, Earl did happen to tear his rotator cuff over the weekend, putting him on the sidelines of doing mechanic work and regular house duties for 6 to 8 weeks.
I think he did it on purpose, guys.
Okay.
I think he kicked the stand out from the car on purpose, just so he wouldn't have to do any more mechanicking. Because I would consider that if I had to do as much mechanicking as Earl has had to do.
Anyways, carried on. So the question that you had was, what is different between Kevaughn and everyone else?
Sure.
Is that what you're asking? Something like that?
I mean, basically, what sort of changes he forces by bringing him back into the club?
Okay. So really, it forces a more high-paced game. So I don't see any more of this back and forth, just taking time off the clock type gameplay that we've been playing before. And it's more of a fast paced Kevaughn trying to score or get the ball to somebody who can score. So yeah, it's just his mentality. I mean, year one, we go back to it, he was very outspoken.
Mm-hmm.
Especially on the pitch. I don't know what the fuck Jacob was doing.
I'm hoping one of his kids made that, not him.
For sure. For sure.
So I'm pretty sure that myself and Jacob have switched roles.
I would need a t-shirt for that.
He's turned into a kid ever since he got a soundboard like that one. I actually remember that match, to be honest.
Everybody does.
Yeah.
That was the one that he pulled out the proverbial yellow card when he scored it.
Was it? Yeah.
Because it was on the north end.
Mm-hmm.
He scores and he runs and pulls out his yellow card and then does his slide like halfway down the pitch. Yeah, I remember that one pretty well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where I'm at. He brings a different play style to where it brings energy to the pitch instead of lackluster passes and whatnot.
Jacob, for you, what does this do for guys like Bees and Sergio and Amando? Do you think this puts them in more of a natural position? Do you think it opens up what they can do a little bit more?
Yeah, I think anytime you get somebody that dangerous up top, and he stretches, I feel like he stretches the field. What was that sound? What are you eating? Rocks? Oh, okay. Close. He stretches the field more than some of our other forwards do, I think, with his pace and that threat of making that dangerous run in behind, and that frees up space in the midfield for guys like Amando and Weehan to do some really good stuff through there. And I hoped that is something that they're working on and hoping for, because I think it's something that we desperately need. I didn't say Rivas's name because I'm wondering if Rivas isn't going to be out for a while, and this is not a like for like kind of replacement, but maybe it's we'll put him up top, and then that'll allow us to play Ataka on the wing. Weehan more in behind as a 10, things like that. And so, but I think, one, it gives us great depth for a run of matches that we're going to be having in October for sure. And it gives Coach Frater was asked about kind of a logjam up top, and he said that's Coach's problem. He's here to just make it a problem for Coach, and he just wants to contribute and do what he can to help the team. And so I think Coach is going to have a very hard time figuring out who to play every night or every match, and who to sit and who maybe even to leave off the other. There's a realistic shot that we see in 18 that doesn't even have Nico on it, or Romario on it, or Kevaughn on it, or Armando on it. I mean, we're just loaded up top right now, which I thought we were already pretty loaded, but we weren't scoring. So you got to do something, and you get a chance to bring back a. I don't know if I'd say he was a fan favorite. I feel like he was kind of polarizing in year one. He was very productive, but he also had the yellow card antics and the kind of brashness that I think rubbed some fans the wrong way. But you still get to bring back a legend from year one, which everybody obviously was excited about, judging by the reaction on social media and whatnot. And so I think you get a chance to do that. You do it 9 out of 10 times, with the 10th time maybe being for Santi. Shots at Santi just a little bit, but I think it helps, and I'm not sure if you're ready to segue, but I'm gonna set you up for a segue if you are. I think after this weekend and Wednesday, we kind of proved that we needed somebody else up top.
Yeah, we do. Between the issues we had last week and with the injuries, adding another body up top is certainly a positive for us. I feel like a player in the midfield would have helped a little bit better, especially with the issues we have there. Earl, you were able to get updates on a couple different players over the weekend. Can you share those with us, like the status of Sergio and Christian Nava?
So actually, I do not know if I can share those because it did come from a inside source.
Don't say who it is.
So
a source within the club.
A source that I've talked to over the weekend
there you go.
Has told me, so a little birdie that sits on my good shoulder, not my bad one, but my good one.
Carlos. It's Carlos, wasn't it? I'm just kidding. Oh God, I hope it wasn't Carlos. I was just fucking around.
It actually isn't. Sombrero Man is not my mole.
And he's also not technically with the club, so
yeah,
that too. So just from what I've heard over the weekend is that Sergio has an Achilles sprain and that he should be healing up sometime soon, hopefully. But that's just rumor and depends on how long it takes him, depends how bad the sprain actually was. And that Nava's absence is non-sports related. So
Earl did a fantastic job talking to some folks over the weekend and getting some information for us. And so Earl has this injury to Earl has changed him. He is now turning into a professional reporter, which is incredible.
What the doctors haven't found is that not only did it crush his shoulder, but it absolutely shattered his soul. And so now he is turning into a soulless journalist that will no longer smile or react to goals or wins. Or
this is not true. So you shut your freaking mouth there. So on Saturday night, we'll go to that part real quick. I actually had to walk away from our end of the sideline or our end of the goal where we hang out with the away keeper. Because I was probably moments away from losing my press credential along with a certain photographer that shoots pictures and photos for the club. So he walked away and then I walked away because I was probably going to lose my credential.
Yeah, you were telling me that you had that the opposing keeper was kind of mouthy.
Yeah, he's Captain Jack Sparrow.
Don't you disrespect Captain Jack Sparrow that way.
Anyways, he's Captain Jack Sparrow's knockoff stunt double who actually didn't make it into the movie.
Okay.
That makes you feel better.
A little bit, I guess.
No, he's I don't know how to word this one without getting fired tonight.
I don't think you get fired for talking
He's a
about the other
douche?
team's keeper.
What would douche fit?
How about douchebag?
Douche canoe.
Douche de bag.
Keep going.
Asshole?
You keep going.
Fucking asshole.
There you are. There you are.
Okay.
No, he's just a fucking idiot. Is all he really is.
Why did we just play this game if you were just gonna come out and say it anyways?
Because why not? The way he was just acting at the end of the game, where he picked up a supposed injury, but then he's talking to his medical trainer, asking her how much time he shaved off the clock.
None, because it gets added back on.
Yeah, so it was like, well, how much time have I shaved off? How much time have I shaved off now? And then he gets up and he's perfectly fine. So I was pretty pissed about that because he decided to cuss out the ref, cussed out Suggs, and then just played the stupid game. So I guess gamesmanship to him. And then he decided to tell me and a certain photographer to fuck off.
So I feel like there's got to be some context there.
This guy
What
sounds
did you
lonely.
What did you say to him?
Nothing.
No, you probably didn't actually. He was probably mad at the
Absolutely
little
nothing.
at the peanut gallery that sits in the corner there that always gives the opposing
Yeah,
keeper shit.
they
He
were
was probably
heckling him
very-
pretty
he was probably
fucking hard.
very mad at them. He was probably very mad at them, and he couldn't reach them with his voice, so he told you guys to fuck off instead.
Yeah, so we got told to fuck off, which is cool.
At least
Then
it was
at
by an
one
opposing.
point-
At least it was by an opposing goalkeeper and not a fan of the club you cover.
This is true. I was there with
Flashback
you.
to- I know.
That's the point. That's what he was
Flashback.
hinting at.
Flashback to the yellow suits.
Yeah, the yellow douchebags.
Yeah, and then there was a point where he had a free kick. So the ball manager, who God rest their little souls, rolled it behind him while he was walking away. So he rolled it that way. He's yelling at the kid to fucking give him the fucking ball. Hurry the fuck up, and just going off on the kid. I was like, dude, there's a ball right behind you. And he turned around. I was like, hey, now you got two in your hand.
Probably the
That's
first
when
time
I
that's
walked
ever
away.
happened. Yeah, so kind of buried the lead a little bit. Saturday night, New Mexico United did fall to the Miami FC by a final score.
Do we have to?
3-0. We do have to talk about it. This was honestly, like, again, this is one of those matches where we played well for the first half. Things looked really promising. Couldn't put anything past that keeper. And then in the second half, we got bit by mistakes. And it's just, I don't know, like we switched off for like 15 minutes to start. And then Kalen had a really poor pass at the back. And every single goal came off of a mistake that we made in our own half. And looking at some of the reactions around the league, some of the people that, you know, like John Morrissey, who go and review the matches and take things away. Like, he said that Miami basically ran us over. I'm like, no, they really didn't, because
I don't know why you don't like this guy.
I have no problem with him. Like, I love what he does, but
You've bashed him 2 weeks in a row now.
Well,
Now,
yes, but I also feel
warranted,
like
but
I feel like his breakdown of this match on Saturday is completely wrong. Like, Miami didn't dictate anything. Miami didn't control the match. Miami didn't, you know, he talked about one particular player who, like, he said, like, ran all over on the right-hand side. He really didn't. Miami capitalized on mistakes that we made in our own defensive half. And so I think John's breakdown of this match is flawed.
Fair.
That's all that is. But yeah, I mean, what is happening? Why do we keep doing this? why did we make so many mistakes in the defensive third on Saturday?
For those of you listening to the podcast instead of watching, it was a lot of shoulder shrugs and I don't fucking knows and Hail Marys. I don't know. It's just uncharacteristic. From the last two matches, Sam has made a mistake in each game that has led to a goal, which is very uncharacteristic for Sam. He's usually rock solid wherever he plays. And then Kalen, I didn't appreciate your text Saturday. Yeah, yours. I'm pointing at you or talking to you. One, I was already fucking furious. And then two, you had been talking crap about Kalen, but not mentally. It was his speed and physical ability. And so that play and the plays that you were bashing him on before aren't the same thing. So you can't rope those in together and say Kalen sucks.
Sure. I'm not saying he
no.
sucks.
No.
Kalen has been making mistakes. He's been slow to react. He's made some poor decisions. We've seen him make poor passes. Like it all ties in.
He did that last year too, though, and nobody said anything last year. He made several mistakes last year, several of which led to goals directly, and nobody was calling for his head then. So,
would this be a bad time to bring up Tambakis on his face?
What about Tambakis? What did you want him to do? He was hung out to dry 3 times.
Yeah.
And just because he had made all those saves in the first part of the half where he'd been hung out to dry, doesn't mean that was going to continue.
Hold on, I'm still trying to load. Carry on. Talking amongst yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely what happened. I mean, Alex got completely hung out to dry. I mean, you look at the first goal that happened, and, you got Kalen and Alexi rotating over to the right because Rosh had pushed way up the pitch, didn't get back, and left, and Roro was able to get the cross in. Or not Roro, I apologize. And so they were able to get the cross in when there's really, I mean, it was a perfect cross. We lacked the correct coverage there. Then you look at the second goal. Sorry, this one here, I'm making sure. This was, again, a turnover in our own half.
Who turned it over for that second one? I never got a good look. Is it Sam again?
No, I think it looks like the header comes off of Rosh. So Rosh comes up, gets a header, and then all 3 defenders converge in the center of the pitch, leaving sorry, I'm trying to forget Murphy wide open on the left. So that's on all 3 of them, and then the third one, obviously Kalen made the horrendous back pass. I don't even know what Kalen was thinking at that point. But yeah, it's just we're missing rotations. Guys aren't making the right reads. The second goal, all 3 defenders collapse on the same person, leaving Murphy just wide open. I don't know what's going on with that. But to Earl's point, I don't know. I'm not sure what more Earl could have wanted out of Alex in these situations. On the second goal, Alex came out, tried to break down the angle, I thought a fantastic job. Murphy just put in a really good shot. The third goal, Kalen absolutely screwed over Alex there. And for the first one, obviously, cross to the back post. Alex is going to cover that near post and try to prevent the shot there. So you can't really, in my opinion, you can't fault Alex for these goals. Earl, what did you see, or are you still looking?
I'm still watching.
Okay. So Earl is trying to still formulate his thoughts here. So, Jacob, you obviously watched from home on Saturday. You and I seem to be at the same opinion here that Alex basically just got hung out to dry. What is going on at the back? Why are we seeing We've seen Rosh make a couple of mistakes. We've seen Kalen make some mistakes. We're seeing Sam give the ball over. Like, I don't know, is it a mentality thing at this point? Is it a lack of leadership? Is it, what is it that we're not doing right?
I think the lab is having the exact opposite effect that it should have on them.
Okay.
I think you look at these mistakes; they're not necessarily happening on the road. We've played solid on the road all season. I haven't looked, but we probably have one of the best, if not the best, road record in the league by
pretty close,
by a mile. I would
think
say
San Antonio is better on the road.
Yeah. San Antonio is just better in general. Don't quote me, Harry. And so they're coming home. We have 4 losses on the season, 4 or 5 now. I don't know.
4.
Yeah.
4 total. 3 of them have been at home.
Mm-hmm.
Only 3 wins?
5,
4 wins?
sorry.
Oh, so we do have 5. So 4 of them at home.
Yeah.
So 4 losses at home out of 5 losses total. I don't know how many draws. Lack of points the last month or so. Obviously, we've gotten some draws and a win in there, but just not where we should be at home. And I think they're tight. I think that they're thinking about that. I don't know how they couldn't be thinking about that, if I'm being honest. I mean, we as fans are thinking about it, right? Mm-hmm. Every time we play at home, even if we go up, it's like the butthole factor is 1,000. And so
3-3-5 at home, by the way.
3-3. I thought you said 33-5. I was like, what?
No.
Yeah, 3-3-5 at home. So it's just not where we should be at home. And I think every press game or every press conference after the game, it's been asked, what's going on at home? Why is there a problem? And they all say, oh, it's just, we've just had bad bounces here, blah, 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 blah. It's not, there's nothing about actually playing at home that's the problem. And I think it is. I think there's a mental thing going on there where they're like, you know what? Let's go out and get this win. And they put so much pressure on themselves to try to perform since they haven't performed well there this season. And it's leading to some tight play and brain farts. And then you get plays like Sam passing it to the ghost of Christmas past. And then you get Kevaughn and Alex not being on the same page. You get
Kevaughn hasn't hit the
sorry, not yet. Kevaughn. Ryden and Tim Backus not being on the same page, and then you get just these dumb things that, I mean, if we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, we've proven to be a really, really tough team to beat. But at home, especially lately, we've just given the ball over in bad places, and Juan Pablo Guzman's not even on the pitch anymore. It's weird.
Okay,
it's the ghost.
So
it's the ghost of Juan Pablo
part.
Guzman. Oh my gosh!
Finally got to the part. Sorry, it took so long. I had to watch 78 minutes of a match again that I didn't want to see.
Why didn't you just go to the highlights?
You guys are frozen, so I'm assuming. What?
We're not frozen.
Why didn't you just go to the highlights? It's like a 3-minute clip.
That's too easy. That's too easy. So the part that I was upset about with Alex was the fact that he didn't dive on the ball. Wait.
He tried.
No, I take it all back because he couldn't dive on the ball because it was a pass from Kalen, not a header from Kalen.
Right.
But the way he dove, like he completely missed the ball when he tried to clear it.
Okay.
That's what I was frustrated about.
Okay.
Well, you got to think.
Seth, just let it go. It's Earl. He's got a brain injury right now. Just let him be mad at Alex because I don't know what to say to him at this point.
But it's only this one night because I'm not gonna have Casey come back on and rip my ass a new one.
I mean, if you want to fault Alex there, okay, but I don't see it. I don't fault Alex for that. Kalen put the pass in a bad spot. Romeo was going the opposite directions, and Alex did everything he could.
Like, yeah, do I think it was a bad pass from Kalen? Absolutely. But I still think that Alex could have did a better job at handling that bad pass instead of diving onto his back and trying to scissor kick it and clear it out.
That's
All
the
right,
only
well,
that's the only thing he could do, though. You just admitted that.
But he didn't have to dive on his back.
All right, someone go tag Casey on Facebook. Let's see if we can't get him in here.
He couldn't dive head first because he can't touch it with his hand.
I'm not saying to do that. I'm saying run and kick the ball. Run and clear the ball.
He didn't have time.
Yeah, he didn't have time because where Kalen put that pass, like Alex wouldn't have had time to run up and try to get it. Not with Romeo bearing down on it. Like you see, like
These are all drunk.
Alex is already backing. Alex is backpedaling when Kalen passes that ball. But Kalen doesn't pass it to Alex. He passes it back towards the middle of the box. Like, I don't know what Kalen is thinking in that moment. Like,
Guys. I was worried about this. These games, they're just too much to handle. You know what we need? We need a little bit of this guy.
It's FRATER!
yep, we sure do. So yeah, honestly, like we outshot Miami. I think it was like 22-6 on Saturday. And we hit the bar a couple times, like three times. Yeah, we hit the woodwork 3 times. Like it was just not a good night. And I think if Romario gets that goal at the end of the first half, I think we're in better shape. But yeah, it was just the way it worked out. Just absolutely brutal night. And then obviously we want to make sure we talk about Justin Portillo. Justin took a tremendous shot on Saturday. He got dragged to the ground, head bounced off the pitch there. The club had to act using the new concussion protocols. So brought in a substitute for Justin at that point. Did not stop United from using the other 5 substitutes they would have normally had. Justin Portillo obviously was checked out. We don't have an update on him. But after the match Saturday night, Zach said he was responsive. He was, aware of what was going on. But you could visibly see from the moment that he went down that something was wrong. And Saturday night, this is probably the most critical we've heard either of United's coaches be in regards to the referees. And watching this live, did you guys feel like the referee handled this appropriately, or do you feel like Zach is justified to be pissed at how this was handled?
All right, so I got the finger pointing towards me. Mostly because I was there live and Jacob wasn't. He was out partying with the nomads of Fort Nowhere.
No, I was actually just on my couch, but okay.
Same thing. There's no one out there in Fort Nowhere.
Fair.
So at first I did think that the officials handled it quickly and fairly. But with the hype of the game just being down there on the pitch, you don't see that end very clearly anyways. You'd have to be focused on what's going on. And when the ball goes this way and the action is happening over here, it's easy to miss that time right there. So at first watching it live, yeah, I thought the referees did fine. But when I watched it on the way home, yeah, they kind of did take some time.
Yeah, I didn't know it was a head injury until you said he was out with concussion. That was the first time that I knew it was a head injury. The broadcast didn't really have a good angle of his head hitting the ground. I thought it looked like his arm had gotten pinned. His arm did get pinned behind him. I thought it was more of a shoulder issue than a head issue. And even when they showed the trainer working on him before he came out to pitch, it looked like to me that they were working on his shoulder. But to be fair, I don't pay full attention during breaks in action like that, especially when watching from home. So I had no idea what was going on, or I didn't know the extent of what was going on until well later after he had already been subbed off. And so I don't have an opinion on how they handled it because I wasn't thinking of it being a concussion in the moment. Looking back, the fact that play wasn't stopped right away, if it was a head injury, is crazy. I mean, they're usually pretty good about
We've
head
seen them
injuries.
stop it a lot
Yeah.
quicker.
Yeah, and then I don't think they stopped it until a dead ball for this one. I don't think they blew a whistle, or until it was after the threat was over and we got possession. Then they blew the whistle. But either way is just a lot longer than you usually see when there's a head injury, and that, especially with one as severe as, I mean, you never see, very rarely anyways, do you see that concussion rule used. So for it to be bad enough for that actually to be the case, I mean, it it was pretty bad, and so for it to take that long on such a serious case, it's not a great look.
Yeah, we were talking up in the press box when David Carl told us that was the protocol they were following. I made the comment and said that's the first time that I know of that rule being used this year. It definitely hasn't happened in any United match before. And I couldn't think of a single USL match this year where it has happened. Now, it's entirely possible that it has. But yeah, watching how that happened, I can see where you're coming from, where you thought it wasn't as serious because of how, look, it was just the arm dragged down or whatever. But yeah, if you go back and watch that segment of play there's a camera angle from over the benches that looks down and you can see him get dragged down. You can see him hit the ground. And then he just lays there. And the referee is not that far away. And you see Justin try to get up and then just immediately just like crumple back down, and so the referee's just kind of standing there. If you watch the timer from the time that they stop play or from the time that he goes down, it's like 2 seconds after whatever minute it is. It takes them 20 seconds before the referee starts to signal the trainers to come on. But by that point, the trainers are already on the pitch, almost, to Justin. And you see you can, like you said, a lot of people may not realize it, but you see Kalen in the back behind him. I don't think Kalen realized what was going on, kind of just kind of walking around. But yeah, once Justin tried to get up and went back down, that should have been an immediate, if not prior to that, it should have been an immediate stoppage of play to get him checked out. And then, I was amazed that they left the cameras on Justin and on that situation while they were doing that, while they were testing, because you can even see like when the trainers do get him up to walk him up off the field, he is not fully cognizant of what's going on. Like you can see how shaky his legs are and how just unstable he is. So just the way that was handled from the referee, and the delay in getting out there, and then the delay to get the stretcher out there, like it was just completely mishandled. And so, like I absolutely get Zach's frustration with the referee, and it definitely should have been handled a lot sooner. It's a player safety thing, and like I said, we've seen plays stopped a lot quicker for seemingly lesser hits than that. You're muted.
That was a turning point in that match. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. We still kind of dictated that match even after that, but I mean, we were on the brink of finding an opener. Seemed like that whole time with Justin out there, he was just playing so well for us, and then something like that happens, and you lose that key cog in the midfield, and next thing you know, we had a little rough stretch there right after that, and we kind of found form, and then they scored early in stoppage time, and it just kind of changed the whole dynamic of the match.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really did. And so, Will coming in, Will was fantastic. As always, he did a great job. I felt really kept the attack going. So yeah, hopefully Justin is okay. He's able to be back sooner rather than later. isn't an actual concussion issue. Although, I mean, like I said, he did not look good coming off the pitch on Saturday night. So hopefully United, I mean, we've got the players, obviously we have the depth to fill in, but you hate to see anything like that happen. And like you said earlier, Jacob, it's just been a rough week, between the 3-0 loss there and then the 2-1 loss to Sacramento midweek. I mean, again, it was just, that, of course, that match was more about Rodrigo Lopez, that he was fantastic for Sacramento. But again, it was mistakes that were made in our own half that put us in poor positions. I mean, I think it was the second one. Sam just, United's trying to play the ball out of the back. Sam just gets the ball caught under his feet and gives the ball away in a bad position.
Yeah, it is the second one. He tries to make a turn and forgets the ball basically, and then it's like, I think it's 2 dribbles, a pass, and then it's in the back of the net. It happened real quick after that, and it just that was another one that Sam kind of messed up on. But that was another match that I thought we played really well. That first goal, I mean, it happened right in front of me and Carlos. It was just a really well worked play, and kind of poor marking on that back post, but at the same time, with the pace that ball came across and the pace and the way that Kiko was able to get to it, just kind of surprised everybody, including us, and we saw the whole thing happen right in front of us. But it's 2 games in a row that we've, depending on which XG you look at, have won the XG battle. And then I think the 2 games that we won before that, we had lost the XG battle. So it just kind of goes to show that XG is freaking pointless, except for, like, I watched those 2 games, Sacramento and Miami, and go, man, it felt like we were the better team and just didn't get the breaks. And then you look at the XG and it's like, oh yeah, we probably should have scored more than the other team both matches and just didn't for whatever reason. But it at this point, it's the one of the, like, had we done this podcast Saturday night, the fireworks that we would have had. Yeah. I'm still upset about it, obviously, but I've also calmed down a lot and kind of just feel like, okay, we got to move on. We just got to move on to Los Dos on Sunday. And I'm talking about these ones, while necessary, I suppose, isn't, like, I've almost put up a mental block to protect my emotions, to, even though I can remember each play that mattered for the most part. It sucks.
Yeah, it's been tough. And we've been talking about Sam a lot. Sam, he's played really well all year long. Yes, he's had some giveaways here and there, but none of them have been poor.
Can we blame you, Seth?
No.
Can I tell you why I want to blame you, though?
Sure.
I believe it was halftime of the Sacramento match. Text quote from Sethy Poo here. Where the hell is it?
Sam was my man of the match at that point.
Yeah, I wanted to quote it. I wanted it quoted verbatim.
Sam MLTM.
Seth, can you get me a clapper or 2? Nope, not yet. Fucked up my shoulder pretty bad. Nope, not yet. You're dead to me. Nope, that was Earl 2. Oh, fuck Yaffle. Nope, that Sam still MOTM. Getting closer, guys. I'm getting closer.
I'm glad you were so prepared for tonight.
There we go. No, it was a bit. It was a bit, Seth. You gotta roll with it, okay? Seth, at 7:56 p.m. on Wednesday. Sam is the MOTM so far. Earl Preston for me, blah blah. And then ever since that point, Sam sucked
Yeah.
for both matches.
Yeah.
It
I don't
was
know what happened.
Man of the match to leading to 2 goals that basically cost us 2 matches.
Sam, yeah, I don't know.
Clearly the Seth Goodall curse. Clearly.
I mean, Sam, I don't know. That first half against Sacramento, Sam had played really well, and then, I mean, you could say that he's responsible for both the goals in the Sacramento match. He's responsible for one of the goals for Saturday night too, because if you look at the first goal from Sacramento, Sam was tracking back, and then there was like a cluster.
No,
like
that was
Sam broke off.
It was
Josh
miscommunication by Josh and him. It wasn't all on Sam.
Well, no,
Josh,
I'm saying
Josh,
you could.
Yeah,
You could.
Josh clearly comes to run back, and then for whatever reason stops short of the back line.
Yeah.
And Sam
Sam
goes,
breaks
okay,
off. Josh
is coming
breaks
back.
off. Rosh doesn't cover. Yeah, it's.
And so, I mean, because that was Suggs' position in the back 4 was that back post, and he ends up chasing the ball. Player dribbles to the middle of the pitch. He chases him. Sam does a good job to read that initially and follow Kiko on his diagonal run. Does a really good job there. And then once that initial action was over and the ball recycles to the other side, everybody on that side kind of relaxed and said, okay, we're good, and didn't make the right switches. And so I could see it being on Sam, but I'm going to split it pretty 50-50 on him and Suggs, because there was plenty of time for Suggs to get back in his position that he should be in, and he stopped short for some reason.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. There's plenty of blame to go around there. But, yeah, it's just been a tough week after the Sunday afternoon win, come back home. They'll lose 2 straight matches at home, and now we're back on the road.
Even that Sunday afternoon win, we were more angry about that win than I think I've ever been about a win before. So you could go back even farther than these 2 and be like, something's wrong.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you said something a minute ago. That's something we've said a lot this year. It's that we feel like we've played better than other clubs time and time again, but we're not picking up the goals. We're not picking up the points, or we're dropping points at home. And, it's an aggravating situation to be in. And for the club to be playing as poorly as they have been at home, like, it's really kind of frustrating. And so I think there's going to be an official petition here soon to have the rest of the season played on the road.
Yeah. And yet through all of that, we are somehow still set to host a playoff game.
As of right now, we are.
The results this weekend fell very kindly to us. With a bunch of draws and a couple teams losing, and allowed us to stay in that 4 spot and stay only 3 points behind Colorado, I think, for 3rd place. Sacramento and San Antonio, obviously. San Antonio lost 3-0 to San Diego, which I was happy to see. Sorry, Harry. But I was also upset to see, because we theoretically can still catch San Diego. I don't know if we can catch San Antonio, but
in theory, but they'd have to.
They'd have to shit the bed.
Yeah. Only 2 clubs in the Western Conference picked up wins this weekend: San Diego Loyola and Monterey Bay, who shut out El Paso, because there's nothing wrong in El Paso, right? There's nothing wrong in El Paso, and it's not just
Earl. Get in on it, damn it.
So for those of you listening on podcasts, whichever podcast service you may be listening to, Earl is the one that's not tweaking out right now.
Damn it. I hate Earl being the professional one. This is bullshit.
And Seth and Jacob are both having seizures on air.
You know what?
It's a little worrisome.
Right now, the big difference between us and San Diego is that we're not just a podcast.
Me and Earl are both very confused right now. Feel like this needs to be cleared up after the show.
No, you don't. You don't remember the drama last week where Hutch called Seriously Loco just a podcast?
Oh, well, you said San Diego.
No, I said that's San Diego. I thought I said El Paso.
You said San Diego. That's why I was confused.
Oh, my apologies.
Like,
unlike El Paso, we're not just a podcast. So a lot of positive things happened around the Western Conference for us over the weekend. So we are still very much in the thick of things. But that takes us into next weekend where we take on Los Dos, who are trying to kick Orange County out of their stadium, or supposedly not anymore. I don't know if you guys have been following that or not, but that's been an interesting thing because apparently some Los Dos people say that, we never had any intention. Bullshit. I think Los Dos got called out on their nonsense and they tried to backtrack it as fast as humanly possible. So, Orange County, I hope you keep your stadium. Cal United Strikers, hope you keep your stadium because LA Galaxy can afford to build one for their prospects. But either way, we play at Los Dos this weekend in LA at Dignity Health Sports Park, wherever that is. So Los Dos, they are in a mystery wrapped in an enigma. They have one fewer win than us. They have 11 losses, and they sit 7 points back, just below the playoff line. I know some people have LA Galaxy making the playoffs this year, but who knows what's going to happen with LA Galaxy? I mean, they're up, they're down. I mean, a few weeks ago, they beat San Diego Loyal by a final 5-0. So I don't know. I don't know what to make of this Los Dos side. I mean, Jacob, what are your thoughts heading into this match?
Have you ever been driving down the road and then you see a jackrabbit in the middle of the road and the jackrabbit looks at you like, what the fuck are you?
Mm-hmm.
And then it like tries to run away, but doesn't know what to do because it doesn't know what the fuck a car is because it's a jackrabbit. I feel like that jackrabbit right now with this match.
Okay.
I don't know what the fuck to do with it. I could see us winning 4-0. I could see us losing 4-0. I could see it being a 1-1 draw. I could see it being a 0-0 draw. I could see it being 4-4. I don't know. The LA Los Dos is a team that you're never going to figure out. With the Galaxy affiliation and it just being a 2-team and just the turnover that's there all the time, match to match, minute to minute is just, who knows? I just don't understand. There's a drop called Feeding the Ducks on this board that I really want to click and have this whole time, but I have not. And that's how I feel about this match. I don't know why I just said that, but I did because I don't know what to do.
Yeah, looking back at some of their results, I mean, recently they lost to Loudoun 2-0, drew with San Antonio, lost to Orange County, lost to Colorado Springs. They
Feeding the Ducks, apparently. So
they blanked San Diego. They beat Oakland, beat Miami, lost to Sacramento. Like, they're just so all over the place. I mean, they lost to Memphis 901 5-0. They beat Lou City 4-3. They lost to El Paso 4-0. Like,
So the next time that Jacob puts on 70s porn music, he can at least buy dinner first.
I didn't touch you.
And with that, listen. Did you know that a rotator cuff tear is the most common shoulder disorder that requires surgical management?
Yeah, that seems like it makes sense.
it's probably more common among professional athletes and not someone working on their truck.
It wasn't even a truck; it was a car.
That's probably what saved your life.
Yeah.
Like I'm perfectly honest right there. Not even fucking around.
Yeah. Either way, carry on.
I mean, Earl, what? Obviously, we know that you've been.
What does United have to do to come away with 3 points?
Earl, you've been turning a page in your professional journalistic career here. Have you done any sort of preparation for Los Dos this weekend?
No.
Okay. In that case, Earl, what does United have to do to get 3 points?
Oh shit.
So the question is, do I hit you with it or not?
What else are you gonna do, Earl?
So my legit answer is actually control the midfield.
You fucking crushed his soul. His soul is gone. Where is Earl? Where did what did the aliens do with Earl? I'm so concerned right now. I did not realize that your soul was in your rotator cuff.
I think that's an astute point. I mean, LA Galaxy.
No,
they
don't tell him. Oh, it was, but don't tell him that. Oh shit.
But also they need to score.
Well, yeah, obviously we do need to score. That's not something that we're really known for at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, it's really hard to pick out someone from LA Galaxy that's gonna stand out for them outside of Preston Judd. But like you mentioned, Jacob, because of the turnover that they have and the roster moves and things like that. But yeah, no, I think Earl's absolutely right. Control the midfield, and that's something that we've kind of failed at a little bit here the past couple of matches. You see the mistakes from.
I disagree. We've controlled it for 75, 80, 90 minutes. We've had 3 to 5 fuck ups. That's been the turnovers are what we need to control. We've controlled the midfield fairly easily all season. Really, I think our midfield's been fantastic. Aside from 3 or 4 passes to Juan Pablo Guzman's ghost, and then they're off to the races.
Well, how about we give Earl a chance to clarify here? Earl, Jacob seems to think that the midfield has been pretty controlled so far this season. From your perspective, is it something that we need to be better at defensively, or is it something that we need to be better controlling and creating going forward?
It could be both. So defensively, obviously making.
That's exactly what I was hoping for.
So obviously defensively making more smarter passes and actually transitioning back towards not 1-on-1 or 1 versus the goalkeeper or 2 versus the goalkeeper. So just having a quicker transition back in order to help the back line. That's the defensive aspect of it. And then the attacking aspect is finding the open person. I mean, now with Kevaughn coming in, he's going to find open spots. With Mondo coming in, he had a couple open spots on Saturday night, especially later in the match when he came on. He was actually calling out Captain Jack Sparrow's cousin's twin sister who didn't make it.
Captain Jackass Sparrow. Jackass.
That too. Jackass.
Fair.
Captain Jackass's best friend over there. He Mondo was calling him out all night. Every time that Mondo would shoot on him, Mondo would point right at him, tell him, "I'm coming for you." So if we can find from the midfield the open,
I'm glad that Mondo is directing that towards an opposing player this week instead of a teammate.
Anyways.
Did you not watch Wednesday's match?
I did watch it, but I don't remember it. I'm not gonna lie.
Mondo got into it with
Swahi.
Swahi, yeah.
Oh, I
Big
remember
time.
that part. Yeah,
Big
okay.
time. And then he got into it again with him after the match. It was very entertaining, especially because the height difference.
So,
it was kind of like a dad and a kid, and the kid was like, and dad was like.
So if we can find the open attacker from the midfield and just create that 2-on-1 right away, that'd be the prime option for the attacking midfield.
Well, there you go, Jacob. Can you beat that prognostication from Earl about what needs to be done on Sunday, whenever?
It's Sunday. It's Sunday.
Yeah. That's what I keep thinking. I know the club said Saturday, but I'm like, no, I'm pretty sure it's on Sunday.
And I can actually. We need to score more goals. We don't. I mean, we technically need to score more goals than Los Dos, but we need to score goals. Period. We cannot have. So So Weehan leads the club all time in goals, if
Mhm.
I'm not mistaken. Dev, I believe, is second. Kevaughn is third. Then we have Nico, who's like top 5 all time in the USL. We have Romario, who has scored 50 plus goals in his career.
Mhm.
We have Armando and Weehan both creating and we have way too much fucking attacking talent to not put up 2 or 3 goals every match, not just this one. And so, yeah, exactly, Henry. Well, I don't like that your name is Steven on here. Exactly, Henry. We need to do better at everything. But yeah, we just if we can limit turnovers and get a couple on the board, it's going to be smooth sailing, which sounds simple and sounds obvious, but it is something that we have yet to do most of this season. And so, to quote Earl, we just need to score more than them.
Yeah, for me, it's the biggest issue right now is cleaning up the play at the back because it has not been great over the past week or more. Because we're seeing a lot of mental mistakes, a lot of times where we're out of position, times where we're pressing too far forward, we're not getting back in defense, and then
but the goals the last 2 matches that we've been caught out of position, it's because of a bad turnover,
right, and so
by the midfield, usually aside from Kalen's screw up.
Right, but it's still we still have to be better defensively, like playing out of the back, because the turnovers that we've seen by Sam, they were in the defensive third or, and trying to play out. And so we've got to get out of those areas and stop making mistakes. It doesn't matter who it is. And then we have to just be better defensively. We have to make better defensive reads. We have to make our shifts better, our rotations better, so that we've got the coverage that we need, and we need better communication. So it all falls into the defensive play, no matter who it is, whether it's Sam or Josh dropping deep, whether it's Kalen, Alexi, Rash, whoever, making those rotations across or making the shifts in order to keep the coverage solid. Because we've seen much better play from other clubs and how well they're holding their line and moving together or shifting side to side. So if we can clean up that aspect of it, then I think we're going to be in a much better position to pick up points Sunday against Los Dos than we have the past couple nights.
It's a lot easier. I'm not disagreeing with you. I do feel like it's a lot easier to keep that line and be a brick wall back there when the other team has possession constantly and is trying to build from the back. Whereas when we're trying to build from the back and we turn the ball over in the back, it's not as keeping that wall back there and that back 4, back 3, whatever we happen to be playing at the time, isn't as simple as what Sacramento did to us, where they just put 5 back there and then that was it. Yes, the back line needs to do better and the midfield needs to do better. We need to stop these 2 turnovers, but comparing our defense to the teams that we've been playing's defense doesn't quite seem fair to me.
I mean, I get that. I'm just saying in terms of the execution of what they want to do, and in terms of what we want to do, it seemed far crisper, far cleaner, and they've been able to contain us a little bit more than what we've done for opponents. And yet again, we've made mistakes in the defensive third. We've had turnovers, things like that, and that's going to throw things for a loop. But going back to the Sacramento match, again, you see all three center backs converge on one player. Like, that's a giant mistake and should never happen. So like if we can eliminate things like that, then it's going to put us in a better position, I think. All right, it is getting a little bit late here, so let's go ahead and let's go around the table. We'll get our scoreline predictions for Sunday at Los Dos. Earl, we're going to start with you.
3-1.
Who?
United.
Okay. Because I was having a conversation with Adam Deal in the box the other night, and he said prior to the match that he was calling 3-0 course, he got the 3-0 right, just the wrong way. So that's why I ask. Jacob?
Go ahead, Seth.
Me? All right.
You always go last.
This is a tough one because, as we mentioned, Los Dos is very Jekyll and Hyde. You don't know what's going to happen with them on any given night. They are a club that can score a lot of goals. They've seen them do it multiple times. They do concede a lot of goals as well. So, 2-2.
So you mentioned Jekyll and Hyde. I feel like that's us. I feel like we're Dr. Jekyll on the road and Mr. Hyde at home. And so since this one's on the road, I feel a Dr. Jekyll performance, and I feel 2-0. I think we limit mistakes, we limit turnovers and bad spots, and whether sorry.
It's FRATER!
Whether he plays or not, I feel like the energy around his signing can rub off on some of the players, and we can get in the back of the net a couple times. I hesitate slightly because I would like to know about Portillo. I feel like if he's going to play, I feel much better about this prediction. If he doesn't play, I still feel solid about it, but yeah, I think we can get 3 points, a much needed 3 points, and kind of get back on track until we come home again.
So you talked about the energy from the Kevaughn signing, and that does bring up one more point I do want to get to real quick. Los Dos plays in a closed door setting. They've only been open twice this year, I believe, and average about 350 people in the stands. Does that play into the outcome of this match, or do you think United can draw from within and not necessarily the crowd?
Nah, I mean, how many stadiums draw anywhere near what we do that we've played at? I mean,
well, near us, not very many, but still, this is probably going to be the emptiest stadium we've played in since 2020.
Well, I mean, if you're playing in front of 1,000 versus 350, if it's open, is that 1,000 really that much louder? Depending on who that 1,000 is for. So I think we'll be just fine.
Depends on how many are United fans.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think it's going to matter. I think playing on the road, whether it's in front of 8,000 in Sacramento or 500 in Los Dos, I don't think it matters.
Earl, do you think there's an energy component from the lack of fans on Sunday?
Sorry, I took my earbud out for a couple seconds. What did you ask me?
I said, do you think there's an energy component from the lack of fans on Sunday at Los Dos?
No, I think we do better without the fans. I mean, obviously we play great on the road where no one draws 11,000 fans or 9,000 fans on a Wednesday night. So I actually like the idea of playing on the road because we seem to do better in front of less fans. Would I be happy if we were to do that good in front of our fans? Yeah, but I will take less fans if it means a win.
All right, well, there you have it, folks. That's gonna just about do it for us here this evening. You've got our score predictions for next weekend at Los Dos, and of course, we do want to leave you with one final thought.
It's FRATER!
There we go. Jacob, get us out of here.
Tuesday, 9:00, celebrating 3 points against Los Dos. Until then, somos unidos.
It's FRATER!
I'm just kidding. I'm not done yet. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and catching us on the live stream. And those that download and listen, please rate and review on the podcast listener of your choice, or podcast player of your choice is what I was looking for there. And yeah, just come back, hang out, come in the chat. Thanks Henry and Harry. Harry disappeared awfully early tonight, but I know it's later where he lives, so no problem. He'll catch us tomorrow. I know he'll catch up because he's kind of crazy and listens and takes in all of the USL media, no matter how big or small, whether it's just a podcast or more. I threw that in for you, just for you, Seth, just for you. So until next week, it's almost news, guys.
It's